Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Let's Talk podcast. My name is Kamisha Whitaker-Moore, and today I am joined by two of my co-hosts. Well, three. My daughter, Kaylyn, and we are also joined today by my son and co-host, Cameron.
Happening.
We also have a special guest today. He is my 3-year-old grandson. His name is Matteo. Matteo, tell everybody hey. He's a little nervous if you can't tell. So we were supposed to have Chris on today. He opted out at the last minute, but we're gonna go ahead and go forth with the podcast. Today we're just gonna be talking a little bit about a little bit of everything. Honestly, I remember working at a restaurant when I had Kaylyn. And we would always call someone who wanted a little bit of everything a little combo plate. So today we're going to have a little combo plate, combo conversations, just about different things in general, emotions, what does success look like, just different things like that. And we're going to get right into it. Y'all doing okay this morning?
Yes. Indeed. It's a little chilly.
It is a little chilly out there. Everybody had a good Thanksgiving?
Yes.
All right, cool beans. Teo, you have a good Thanksgiving? A little bit? Okay. All right. So today, like I said, we're just going to talk about a couple little things that I've been thinking about. Number one, emotions. Number two, what does success look like for you? And number three, from when you guys were being raised by me, and now the kids, like your nieces, nephews, ages, different kids like that, what does that look like from you guys until like present day with all these kids that are grown at the age of 12 and 13, what that look like. But let's just first start with emotions. I know we talked about emotions a while back on one of our first or second podcasts, but what does mental health really mean to you guys and emotions, and what does that look like? Let's just talk about, like, if one thing, death, what does that look like for y'all? Do you kind of process that well? Do you not? I mean, just kind of all over the place, because I know that I am, but I want to hear from you guys first. What do you think, Cam?
To me, I wouldn't say I process it well, but I mean, eventually, I know everybody has their day.
Mm-hmm.
I know I have my day. So I don't really take it as deep as most people do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it's very sad when people die. And I do get, upset, or not upset, but like sad. And for myself, everybody has their day,
right.
And I'm just trying to live the best I can till that day comes, whenever it might be.
Yeah.
So I'm just, I wouldn't say I'm scared of death. It's just the fact of, like, the unknown of what's going to happen or what might happen.
Okay, I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Kaylyn, what about you? How well do you process?
For me, I process it. Like, when I hear hey, so-and-so has died, it is sad at first, but then I'm like, Cameron, like, one day everybody has their time.
Yeah.
And as far as he say he's not scared to die, I'm terrified to die. That's just always been a thing to me, just because of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I got you. I know for me, death is a thing that I don't process well. Like I said once before, I can go through each emotion, but anger is the girl that I know the best, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
For me, I think I've been programmed so long that, like, you're the stronger one out of the group. You have to be strong. You have to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't process well because I don't let my emotions flow, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to be strong for everybody else. And so as soon as your brain, which is crazy to me, but this is the only way I can describe, as soon as my brain says, or as soon as I feel a sadness like I want to process, my brain tells me, kick it in, girl. You ain't got time for that. You got to be strong for your family. You got to do this. You got to do that. And so as soon as my brain hears that or thinks this, then my tears will stop automatically. Seriously, automatically, because at that point I know that I have to be strong. So I don't process death well because I don't process it at all. I think about it every now and again, but then again, it's just like, I suck it up. You know what I mean? I just kind of quiet that voice. And so therefore I know that I don't process it well. I know that I still have not processed my granny. and she's been dead for a while. I have not processed Uncle Kenneth, and he's been dead for a while. But yet and still, life goes on, and you move on, and you continue to go. But I know one day, like I always say, pressure busts pipes. But I know one day I'm gonna have to just sit there and just really process that whole situation and kind of go from there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I know that forgiveness is a big thing for me too. I know that I have to forgive. I have to forgive all things. I have to forgive, people, situations, and I want people to forgive me as well. But how hard is it to forgive somebody that really hurt you?
Very hard. I'm not gonna lie and say that it's just the easiest thing in the world. I mean, for me, forgiving somebody is very hard for me. Sometimes I just kind of push it back in the back of my brain, and I'm just like, and just go on about my business. But as far as forgiving, truly forgiving, I think that's very hard for me. I
Yeah,
don't think I do that too often.
I got you. Kim, what about you?
For me, forgiving is, it might take some time, but at the end of the day, you have to forgive. Because if you're not forgiving, you're just letting that person or that thing just tremble in your mind, and then like you thinking about it so much, you just get off task. So once you forgive and you actually forgive, then your life will be a lot better. I've definitely learned that. I've been done away a couple times that might not even seem that bad, but it's all about forgiving. Once you do that, you feel so much better, and then life is just much better.
I totally understand that. I know for me, forgiving was a big deal because honestly, as a mom, as a single parent, and to me, my definition of a single parent is someone who is not married to the father, but raising their kids. And I remember going through so many things, losing my car, being kicked out of a house because of lies, not having anywhere for my children to go because of revenge and different things like that. And so it was kind of hard for me to forgive, you know what I mean? But yet and still, at the end of the day, I knew that forgiveness was a must. I just wasn't ready to do it.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to do it because like I said, anger was the girl that I knew the best. I was angry. I was upset because of all the things that had been done to me wrongfully, but yet and still, it was just like, how do you get past something like this when it's not even about you, but it's about your children and different things like that. So it's one of those types of situations to where how do you get past someone that has hurt your babies? You know what I mean? Not
Yeah.
even taking into consideration, what you're doing here, but yet and still, it's just like we just do it because we want to hurt someone.
Yeah.
So yes, that was a hard thing for me to even fathom to start forgiving people, but yet and still you do. And I think that old Kamisha opposed to this now girl, you know what I mean? I forgive people a lot quicker. I let things go a lot faster because I know that if I don't, all it does is make you like angry, bitter, different things like that. And so I know that I have to do that. And I feel like the reason why, or not the reason why, but I feel like I get the okie doke so many times. It's because I forgive people so many times and so fast. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, say for instance, you do something to me, and then I forgive you because I know that I have to forgive, and then I don't even think about it anymore. And do you do the very same thing to me again? Because there's a saying, you get me once, shame on me. Give me twice. No, shame on you. Give me twice. Shame on me, or something like that. But I tend to give people way too many chances at this point. Because I do forgive, because I know that it's a thing that I have to do. I must do. And so I think that coming into that knowledge of forgiving is one of those things that we definitely have to do. So as far as like, forgiving, it's a thing that we have to do. But yet and still, sometimes it is hard, but we learn and then we move on. So it's just one of those things. Forgiveness, emotions, different things like that. But as we kind of pivot to a different topic, what does success look like for y'all?
In the future,
Yeah.
I just say being financially stable, having my dream home,
Mm-hmm.
and my kids living their best life.
I got you.
Yeah, to me.
Okay. Kim, what about you?
I think success is like more internal.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Just yeah. Obviously, there's things that you want, but does that really mean that you're successful
Right.
in life? That's how I look at it.
That's good.
Like me, I don't think success is really about having all these materialistic things.
Yeah.
It's about how I live my life pretty much.
Right.
So with the things that I want to do doesn't necessarily, like I want to be a coach. They don't make a lot of money or, play basketball, whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that whatever your goals are and like you meet those goals, that's what makes you successful.
Totally
Yeah,
understand that. And I
that's
totally
good.
agree too. I know for me, materialistic things do not define me. You know what I mean? It
Mhm.
doesn't make me, no, don't get me wrong. If someone gives me something, I'm very thankful. And I'm appreciative of all the things, but it doesn't move me. It
Mhm.
doesn't sway me to your side. It doesn't make me make decisions because you give me financial things. I'm also that way with monetary things. This is why I tell people that work with me or under me on my title that please let me know. Tell me what it is that you want because my mind doesn't work that way. Things that are successful or help me or fill my tank up are not those types of things. It's more so like, can I help you do anything? Are you doing okay? Are you doing a good job? Different things like that. So I don't just really feed off of materialistic things. So my definition of successful would be more so aligned with yours and not about the money or whatever the case may be, because some of the richest people are some of the worst people. They're unhappy. There are different things like that. I remember you had a friend, and their parent was a doctor, and the dad was something I forgot, but you were like y'all were really good friends, and for the longest, you were always be like, "Why I don't have this? Why I don't have this? I want this. I want that. Everybody has this. Everybody has that." And then one particular day, you realized you were like, "Mama, it's not about the money. It's about the love and all the things that you get." Do you
Mhm.
remember that? It's about family. So that lesson you saw,
Mhm.
because we didn't have a lot of money, but we had a lot of love and we had a whole lot of discipline, but we didn't have a lot of money. And so we know what that looks like on our side of things. And so people who are successful and are rich, they're miserable sometimes, or they confuse power with respect, and they're
Mhm.
not respected. They're just scared, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So success to me is more so aligned with what you got or with your definition of success. Sometimes we have little successful moments as we journey along our journey, our personal journeys, or what our end goal needs to be. You know what I mean? So we're successful here, but we're only here for a time, and then we move on. And then as we progress, as we grow, we always hit those little points and keep it going. Do y'all agree or would you disagree?
No, I
No, I
agree.
agree.
That's the thing too. Is I know a lot of people like they're parents or doctors, lawyers, or whatever, but they're not. I guess you could say they're successful in
Mhm.
like outside of
Miserable?
life, but at
Yeah.
the same time, it's like because the way we grew up, it's just we weren't the family that had tons of money,
Right.
but we always spent time with each other, and I think that's the most important thing is just time.
Yeah.
And like I said, we didn't have a lot of money, but the time. I know people, their parents, they're successful, but they don't spend time with each other.
This
You
is
know,
true.
Mhm.
and that's why I think success is how I think it is because of that.
Yeah. I totally understand that. And I totally agree too. I think one day our definition of success, or we're going to get there, and just because you're not there at this moment doesn't mean that you're never going to get it. It just means that hey, sometimes there's a delay, and we just got to keep pushing and keep grinding, and we're going to get it. Because just think about this. Somebody said this to me. If God were to give you all the things that you desired all at one time, how would you handle that? Would you continue to live, or would you just stop and just live in the moment? What would you do? Would you forget all the things that you've been taught because he gave you every single thing that you wanted right then and there? How would you act?
I feel like it wouldn't. I don't think it would be good for me, to be honest.
Me
Yeah.
neither.
I think I'd get very complacent
Mhm.
with the things that I got, and then forget the end goal
Yeah.
for sure.
And
I
then
think
when it's gone, and it's like now you want, you don't want it.
Yeah, I totally understand that. And I think this is why, I don't think this is why, I know this is why things happen the way they happen. You know what I mean? I
hmm
think that God's like, I got so much for you, but I'm gonna give you a little bit here because in this moment I want to teach you grace. Or I got this right here for you because in this moment I want to teach you patience.
hmm
Or I got this for you right here because in this moment I want to teach you forgiveness. And I think that through my years of living and going through the things that I've been through, God has taught me a lot of that. And in the beginning, I really didn't know what it was that He was trying to teach me. I just knew that I was going through a whole lot of stuff that I didn't understand, nor did I think I could handle because it was like, I'm broken. I don't get it. I don't understand. You said that you love me, Jesus, but yet and still, why am I going through all of this?
hmm
But in all of those moments, I look back right now at my age and I'm like, you were trying to teach me. You were trying to teach me patience. You were trying to teach me forgiveness. You were trying to teach me love. You were trying to teach me all of these things. I didn't get it then, but I get it now
hmm
because me, I am a hothead. I know that I am, but yet and still, I try to think things through before I speak, or I try to give people the benefit of the doubt before I place judgment. You know what I mean? Because He's taught me those things. So I'm grateful for the lessons that He taught me, but dog, you feel like, did you have to do me that way? But
Yeah.
yet and still, sometimes He does because we don't listen. Just like little kids don't listen. Sometimes we just got to tell them, show them what it is that we mean and kind of go from there.
Yeah.
Sometimes it comes with a spanking, and sometimes that's what God definitely does to us. He will spank us right to where we need to be, and then we'll learn what we need to learn. And I remember one podcast with Anthony. He said that sometimes we repeat cycles because we don't learn what we need to learn in the moment.
hmm
And so sometimes it is not sometimes, but all the times it is so important to just try to learn your lesson because if not, you're going to keep repeating that same situation. Just like a kid in school, you're going to keep repeating the second, third, and fourth grade if
hmm
you're not learning. And then if you're not learning and they pass you on, that's because they're sick of you. There's nothing else they can do for you.
Right.
But, you have to learn your lesson and then we move on. Then we kind of graduate to something different.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that we learn through life. What is your biggest lesson that you learned through life, Cam?
Hmm. Biggest lesson.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably say not to take anything for granted,
Okay.
pretty much, because life just moves way too fast,
Yeah.
way too fast. Don't take anything for granted, and just stay the course, and don't forget the main goal.
Gotcha. Kaylyn, what about you? What have you learned in your 20 something
Ooh.
years of living? What is the biggest lesson that you've learned?
Right now, I think I would say timing. And when I say timing, it's like when it's not my time to do something, but I want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Even though it's not my time, I'm learning that I have to wait until it is my time.
I got you.
So that's why I would say timing. And also, I agree with Cameron.
Okay.
Yeah,
Speak more on that, the timing part. Explain to me. Act like I'm two, because I want to get it.
So let me see. I think of something. I think last year before, I wanted to move to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
I found a job. I moved, and I had to come right back home.
Yeah.
So my lesson was, it was not my time
Mm-hmm.
to be moving at
Right.
that point, because if I have to leave just to come right back, I didn't want to come back. You know what I mean? But I had to come back.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say timing, is because that was not my time or my place to move.
I totally understand that.
So that's what I mean by timing.
Okay.
Doing things that I shouldn't be doing,
Mm-hmm.
and then having to come back to start over.
Totally get that. And I think we talked about that a little bit. It's more so like we also talk about planning too.
Yeah.
Planning time and then honestly just asking for directions and guidance, because sometimes we don't do that. And sometimes
Mhm.
we literally take that for granted because it's like, well, I got to ask God what I need to be doing. I'm
Mhm.
grown. I can do whatever I want to.
Right.
But if He's saying, no, this is not what I need you to be doing at this present moment in time, then I mean, do you really think that you can outdo what He says?
Right.
That's the thing that I think that we fail to realize. If he says no, no is no. And it's not going to move. It's not going to be any better. And honestly, it's going to be 10 times worse because he's going to make it worse because you've done something that he told you specifically not to do, or we didn't even ask for or get guidance for.
Right.
But it's more so about planning. You know what I mean? You can't just up and do something without a plan. And I think with younger generations, this is what we do. Me, I'm a little older. I try to plan. Sometimes I do things off the fly, but it's never anything as big that will affect anyone but me, if that makes sense. But just planning things, knowing what your goal is, and then doing whatever you need to do. Because honestly, it's okay to come back home, but you can't feel like you're a failure if you need to come home. The thing about it is, we don't plan well, and we just do stuff on the fly. So it's never okay. So always ask for guidance when we do stuff like that. I want to talk about, as far as like, we're gonna pivot back again. Talk about emotions. What do y'all think about as far as like forgiving and different things like that? Do you think hurt people? Because there's a saying, hurt people hurt people, right? And they do. But do you think hurt people that has not healed should take steps to move on? Or should they just stop and heal and then move? What you thinking?
Like, when you say steps to move on, what do you mean?
So, okay, say for instance, single mom, me, was in a relationship for years, right? And then I got out of that relationship, and then I jumped into another relationship. It's like, to me, in my mind, and this was me for sure. I'm talking about myself right now. Me, in my mind, I couldn't be by myself. I didn't want to be by myself because if I didn't like what I look like, if that makes sense. Here I am thinking about different situations, or I'm a mom with children. I have nobody over here. I'm not dealing with anybody. And that's not a good feeling because sometimes as women, we want people to define who we are. And I'm talking about myself. And this was me. And so, and I learned that just dealing with people, they can't define you. You have to define you. So just because you got out of a bad relationship, is it okay for me to jump into another relationship just because I don't want to be alone? Kim, what about you? How is that on the male side of it?
That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Have you ever done that? Have you ever known somebody who's done that? It's just like, you jump out of one relationship and then you get into another relationship, and then when that don't work out, you get into another one. Or do you guys, or you, just not you, but y'all stop, think about, grow, kind of, do what you need to do and then move on? How does that work?
So yeah, me, you know how I am.
Yeah, that's why I said not you.
I mean, I've seen a bunch of dudes, jump from relationship to relationship. I think it's really just them needing validation.
Yeah.
Because when I speak about myself, I don't really need validation from anybody, and I'm okay with being alone. It don't.
Yes, you are.
It don't. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's more of them needing validation. I don't think they're, like you said, some people aren't okay being alone.
Yeah.
And I feel like once you learn it's okay to be alone, then you'll understand, like, sometimes it's better you don't have to be alone the rest of your life, but it's better to be alone for a certain period of time to understand, like, yourself. That makes sense.
Yes, a lot.
But like I can't really speak for other people, but I have seen some people like go from relationship to relationship, and I always ask myself why, but I just I don't really know.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just, I think most people do it just for validation.
Yeah.
Saying they have somebody, no matter how the relationship is.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's not, I don't think it's very healthy to do that.
No. So, I always wanted that too because I never asked. So the woman side or the female side of it is just the same as the male side. It's all about validation as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think so. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think it's more about validation.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how the world is now with social media and all that other stuff. That's pretty much why I got rid of all that. Because it's like a bunch of it is fake, and just like, that's just the world we live in. It's just more about validation, I think, than anything.
I got you.
If you got somebody that validates you, then that means you need somebody to make you yourself
Feel good about yourself.
Yeah,
Totally understand that.
That's
that was me, young Kamisha, for sure. What about you, Kaylyn?
I don't know. I really can't. I mean, I can agree because I've been there. I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I jumped out of one relationship for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Got in another one, I think, a year later,
Mm-hmm.
maybe less than a year later. So yeah, no. For me, I don't really think it's validation. I really just think it was I didn't want to be alone at that time, to
Totally
be honest.
understand that.
So being alone just wasn't what I wanted.
Totally understand that. But in that time, do you feel like, say for instance, if you are in a time or when you were by yourself in no relationship, what did you learn did you learn anything while you were by yourself, or how did you view life?
I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't learn anything because I feel like I wasn't alone enough. I mean, like I wasn't alone long enough to learn anything because I'm jumping out of one 5-year relationship and then I'm getting into another one. I don't even think it was a year later. You know what I mean? So what time do I have to just sit and think?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or self-reflect.
Right.
You know?
I totally get it.
So to be truthful.
I totally understand that. I think as when I had, with you guys, and then there were some years of no relationship. And that's when I learned who I was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I learned who I was as a mom, as a daughter, as a friend. I put things back into perspective because sometimes women will lose that. And they, how people always say you never put a man before your kid. And let's just be honest. Sometimes you do. You don't think that you do, but sometimes you do because you always want to be where they are, or you want to go here, you want to go there, and different things like that. My mom would always tell me, if your kids can't go where you going, then you don't need to go. But girl, get these kids and let me go where I need to go, and I'll be back when I get back. So it was one of those types of things where you have to learn, or I had to learn who I was, what I like, and then trying to be the best mom that I could be. And so that was a lesson for me because I was that girl. I was like out of one into another one, then out of this one. And then even though there was a time or two where you guys didn't see him, I was still sneaking them in or sneaking them out. You know what I mean? It was just like, y'all go to sleep. Yeah, you can come over here. And then when y'all wake up, you got to go. It was that thing. I'm just being 100% honest because I didn't want, that was not what I wanted you guys to see. I didn't want you guys to be like, well, dang, Mom, you were just with this dude like a year ago. Now this is another guy. So it was just one of those things to where you didn't want your kids involved in that. Number one, because it wasn't even serious. It was just like you just didn't want to be by yourself. And if there's a relationship to me that was serious, then yes, I'm going to introduce you to my children. But I did not introduce a lot of people to my kids. I just didn't do that. So let's talk about a pivotal moment in your life, okay? Something that kind of went from, I don't know, not a 360 because it went back, but a 180. Let's talk about each one in your lives. You want to go first, Cam, or Kaylyn, you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
One would be me having Matteo.
Okay.
Before I had Matteo, I think I was just out here partying, just doing whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I had Matteo, I think right before I had Matteo, I was actually in school. I went back to school, and then I had Matteo. I was still in school. And then once I had him, I went to medical assistant school, and then I became a medical assistant. So I think having Matteo was a pivotal moment in my life for the better. So
okay,
yeah,
gotcha. What about you, Cam? If anything,
thing I can think of is just moving back here.
Yeah,
pretty much. After being gone so long, it really didn't even feel like a long time. But if we adding up all the years, I want to say I left after high school.
Yeah,
and like I just literally just got back here
in 2024.
Yeah, so I think I wouldn't say starting all over, but same thing I was doing in high school, just working towards a goal pretty much while just, being in my hometown, which is, I guess you say a 360, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm older now, and I kind of understand it a little bit more, but it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
Working out, playing games, got a job, just,
Yeah.
working towards a goal.
That's true because you'll be leaving pretty soon
Hmm.
and doing big boy things and so things are definitely going to be taken off. So yeah, you came here. It was definitely a pivotal moment for you, but it was a good thing.
I guess so, yeah.
I think so. I think it was a good thing for the moment. Pivotal moment for me, honestly, um, was becoming a mother for the first time. Really not knowing anything about being a mom, just really knowing, we had our nieces, Day, Shaq, they stayed with us. And I was just like, I would never have children, because as a young person, raising or helping with another young person, it was I'm not gonna say difficult, but it was like life changing because it's like, oh my gosh, they cry too much. You know what I mean? It's just like you don't want to have any children. And so I know like going to college and then finding out that I was pregnant with Kaylin definitely changed my whole entire world. Um at that moment I knew that I couldn't be the same person that I was, but I had to be a lot better. Only because I had a child at this moment and I knew that as a mother you have to put away childish things and you have to become a mom and so it wasn't like I was doing anything anyway. I was doing stuff, but it wasn't like I was out here partying in the streets and different things like that. It was just, becoming a mom, knowing that I, was about to come into this thing that I had never experienced before in my life, and I was pretty much going to be on my own. My mom and my dad, they helped, but my
Mm-hmm.
dad was pretty strict. It was just like, hey, this is your child. You're gonna have to take care of him, and so learning how to take care of a child and then growing up yourself because you are 19, about to be 20, having a child. And honestly, sometimes 19, 20-year-olds are still childish and immature. And so growing up with her and then having Chris and then having you, to me, that was a whole pivotal moment because at that time, I had to grow up and I had to make decisions or the best decisions I possibly could make for me and my daughter when she was born. Did I know that things weren't going to work out in the beginning? I did. You know what I mean? You know how you have those red flags about relationships and different things like that, but yet and still, you continue to try because you want to try. But there was a whole pivotal moment for me. Just becoming a mom for the first time, just kind of learning how to do things on my own, trying to be grown and making decisions are the best decisions you can for your daughter, trying to teach her, show her all the things that you learned, and then trying to eliminate some of the things that you saw or whatever the case may be, trying to show a lot of love and just kind of being there. I failed at it for sure, but yet and still, I know what to do and what not to do as a parent. So it was just one of those things that was a total pivotal moment for me. Just I think that's a big pivotal moment for everybody when you become a parent for the first time. Just kind of learning and trying to do the very best that you possibly can. And then at that moment, trying to go to school, just different things. And so we made it. It was a rough little roller coaster, but yet and still we made it. We're learning still. We're learning each other. Well, we know each other. We know how to, press each other's buttons. We know what to say, when to say it, and what not to say. So we're here. We're doing better, I think, and we're just kind of growing. There's a lot of growing up that that still has to take place, but yet and still, we're good to go. All right. So we're getting ready to end the episode, baby. We've had an eventful episode today. Okay, life
Mm-mm.
has been lifing out here in these streets, and it's been rough. But yet and still, we're gonna continue to do what we do. We're living with the positive. Okay, everybody come up with the positive that we're gonna leave everybody with, and then we're gonna kind of go from there. Who wants to start first?
I would just say, remember, your timing is not God's timing.
Right.
So,
Absolutely that.
Don't seek validation from anyone.
That's right.
Eternal, internal. All about you.
It is. Absolutely. I totally agree with both of those for sure. Mine would be, honestly, it would be learn to forgive, learn to let things go. And no matter how many times people wrong you, you still have to forgive. God said we had to forgive. It is definitely a thing that we must. And if if you struggle with that, I totally get it because I struggle with it too. But yet instead we have to forgive. And absolutely, I agree with Cam. Validation is not with someone, but it's within yourself. Are you happy with you? And if you're not happy with you, what's going to make you happy? Get to know who you are, get to love you. Self care is very important as well. But, just get to know what's going on with you. And Kaylin said it too, and I'm going to piggyback off her. Your timing is not God's timing. God may be saying no, and you're out here saying yes. And all you're doing is kind of prolonging the process where God wants to get you to. So let's just make sure and that we understand if he's saying no, it's not permanent. It just may be no for right now. Okay? Y'all good? Anybody else have anything they want to say? We in church.
No.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us today, and until the next one. Peace.